Across our planet, a remarkable story unfolds, one written not in words but in the silent, determined footsteps of millions of animals. It is a story of movement, of instinct, and of survival, where every journey is a testament to the resilience and adaptability of life itself. This is the phenomenon of animal migration, a breathtaking spectacle that shapes the very fabric of ecosystems across the globe. Migration is an ancient rhythm, a biological imperative encoded in the DNA of countless species. It is a contract with nature, compelling animals to move in synchrony with the changing world around them. This force is so powerful that it drives entire populations to traverse continents and oceans, often covering distances that defy imagination. Animals do not embark on these epic odysseys for adventure or curiosity. Their journeys are driven by necessity, by the relentless pursuit of survival. They travel to find food when resources dwindle, to escape the grip of winter's chill, or to reach the only places where their young can be born and raised in safety. For many, migration is the only way to ensure the next generation survives, an unbroken chain stretching back through the ages. These journeys are fraught with peril. Animals must cross rivers swollen by rain, deserts scorched by the sun, and mountains shrouded in snow. Each step is a gamble, a test of endurance and willpower. The mass movement of life, herds stretching to the horizon, flocks darkening the sky, schools of fish swirling in the sea, is one of nature's most awe-inspiring spectacles. Imagine a great wave of energy, a living tide that sweeps across continents, shaping the land and the creatures that inhabit it. As the seasons shift, so too do the landscapes. Rain transforms grasslands into lush pastures, while drought leaves them barren and cracked. What was once a paradise can become a wasteland almost overnight, forcing animals to move or perish. To survive, animals must follow the shifting patterns of food and water, tracking the pulse of the earth itself. They are guided by an internal clock, a circannual rhythm, and by an invisible map passed down through generations. Some use the sun, the stars, or even the Earth's magnetic field to navigate. This instinct propels them across thousands of kilometers through landscapes both familiar and treacherous, often with astonishing precision. Every individual, from the youngest calf to the oldest matriarch, carries the hope and future of its species on its journey. The scale of migration is staggering. The ruby-throated hummingbird, weighing less than a coin, can fly non-stop for 800 kilometers across the Gulf of Mexico. At the other extreme, the blue whale, Earth's largest animal, travels thousands of kilometers between polar feeding grounds and tropical breeding sites. Migration is a universal strategy found in birds, mammals, fish, insects, and even some reptiles. Each species has evolved its own unique solution to the challenges of survival. Some migrations are short, spanning just a few hundred kilometers, like the pronghorns of North America, which follow ancient corridors to reach winter ranges. Others are epic in scale. The Arctic tern, for example, travels from the Arctic to the Antarctic and back each year, a round trip of over 70,000 kilometers, the longest migration of any animal on Earth. Each migration is a finely tuned response to the demands of a specific environment. Caribou cross tundra in search of lichen. Monarch butterflies navigate by the sun to reach Mexican forests, and salmon return from the ocean to the rivers where they were born. In Africa, over 1 million wildebeest thunder across the Serengeti, following the rains in a never-ending quest for fresh grass. In the oceans, sea turtles navigate thousands of kilometers to return to the very beaches where they hatched, guided by the faintest cues in the Earth's magnetic field. The ultimate goal is always the same: to find a place where life can begin anew, where the next generation can take its first breath. This drive is primal, a force as old as life itself. It compels animals to brave storms, hunger, and exhaustion, to protect their young at all costs. The journey is never easy. Many will fall to the elements, to hunger, or to the jaws of predators. Migration is a relentless test of strength, stamina, and resilience, demanding everything from those who undertake it. The travelers are exposed, vulnerable to the dangers that lurk in every shadow and behind every hill. For every migrating animal, there is a predator waiting, alert to the opportunity that the great movement brings. The arrival of a herd or a school of fish is a time of abundance for those that hunt, triggering a cascade of life and death across the food chain. This creates a dramatic, often brutal theatre, where every chase, every escape is a matter of survival. Migrants must also contend with the elements: torrential rains, searing heat, biting cold, and treacherous terrain. And always there are hunters, silent, patient, and deadly, waiting for the moment to strike. This dynamic between predator and prey is a cornerstone of the natural world, a delicate balance honed over millennia. Migration is not just a journey, it is the ultimate survival gauntlet, a living testament to the power and beauty of life on Earth. Nowhere on Earth does the spectacle of migration unfold with such scale and intensity as it does across the endless plains of East Africa. Here, the land itself seems to pulse with life, as millions of hooves set the savanna trembling. The Great Migration is a phenomenon without equal, the largest overland migration on the planet. It is a living river, surging across the grasslands in a relentless quest for survival. Over 1.5 million wildebeest, joined by 200,000 zebras and countless gazelles, set out on an epic 800-kilometer circuit. Each animal is driven by ancient instincts, responding to subtle cues in the environment, shifts in wind, the scent of rain, the taste of the grass beneath their hooves. Their journey begins on the southern plains of the Serengeti in Tanzania, where the rains have nourished the grasses. As the seasons shift, the herds surge northward, crossing rivers and open plains, bound for the lush pastures of Kenya's Masai Mara. The dry season is the great driver of this odyssey. As the sun scorches the southern plains, waterholes shrink and the once lush grass withers to dust. Thirst and hunger become relentless forces, compelling the herds to move in search of life-giving rain and fresh grazing. The migration is a symphony of movement and sound. The thunder of hooves shakes the earth, sending up clouds of dust that hang in the air for miles. Each animal is part of a vast, living machine, synchronized by instinct and necessity. The air vibrates with the low, resonant calls of wildebeest, communication that keeps the herd together, warns of danger, and reassures the young. These vocalizations are vital, especially when visibility is low and predators are near. The herds move as a single, undulating mass, a super herd that flows across the landscape like a river of life. This unity is their greatest defense, overwhelming predators with sheer numbers and making it difficult for any one animal to be singled out. At the front, zebras often take the lead. Their sharp eyesight and excellent memory of ancient migration routes help guide the herd safely through the vast, ever-changing terrain. Zebras are the scouts, alert to danger and the first to sense the promise of new grass. This partnership is a marvel of natural cooperation. Zebras graze on the tough upper blades of grass, exposing the tender shoots beneath for the wildebeest. By feeding on different parts of the same plant, they avoid competition and maximize the available food. Safety in numbers is their greatest shield. When danger threatens, the herds bunch tightly together, presenting a wall of bodies that confuses and deters predators. The young and vulnerable are kept at the center, protected by the strength of the group. Yet every step of the journey is shadowed by peril. The migration is a moving feast for Africa's most formidable predators, cheetahs, lions, and hyenas, each employing their own strategies to exploit the chaos of the moving herds. On the open plains, a mother cheetah stalks the fringes of the herd, her eyes fixed on the weakest or most isolated. She relies on stealth and explosive acceleration, targeting young gazelles with surgical precision. The cheetah's body is a masterpiece of adaptation. With a flexible spine, oversized nasal passages, and non-retractable claws for traction, she can reach speeds of up to 110 kilometers per hour in mere seconds. But this burst of speed comes at a cost. Her stamina is limited, and she can only sustain the chase for a few hundred meters. After the chase, she is utterly spent, her body overheating from the effort. She must rest in the shade for up to 20 minutes, vulnerable to other predators and scavengers. This is when hyenas move in. With powerful jaws and unmatched endurance, they can run for miles and work together to intimidate and outlast solitary hunters. Their bone-crushing bite allows them to consume every part of a carcass, leaving nothing to waste. Lions, the undisputed kings of the savannah, are masters of patience and stealth. They use the cover of tall grass, rocky outcrops, and acacia woodlands to conceal their approach, waiting for the perfect moment to strike as the herds pass by. Lionesses hunt in coordinated teams using silent signals and strategic positioning to isolate a single wildebeest or zebra from the herd. Their teamwork is precise and their ambushes are swift and deadly. The male lion, weighing up to 230 kilograms, is a force of raw power. When he joins the hunt, he can bring down even the largest and strongest adults, ensuring the pride's survival. For the migrating herds, every day is a test of endurance and awareness. They must navigate treacherous river crossings, evade predators, and withstand the harsh elements. Only the most resilient and resourceful will survive to reach the green pastures of the north, where the cycle of life begins anew. The Mara River stands as the most formidable barrier in the Great Migration, a relentless gauntlet that tests every instinct, adaptation, and ounce of courage in the animal kingdom. For the wildebeest, the river is not just a physical obstacle, but a crucible of survival. Each year, nearly 2 million wildebeest, joined by hundreds of thousands of zebras and gazelles, converge on its banks, driven by the promise of fresh grasslands beyond. The herds gather in restless anticipation, their numbers swelling as more animals arrive. Some, like a matriarchal wildebeest leading her calf, have already traveled hundreds of kilometers, evading predators and enduring thirst. The air is thick with dust and tension, every animal acutely aware of the dangers that lie ahead. At the river's edge, the leaders hesitate, their instincts warring between caution and the mounting pressure from the thousands behind them. The youngest calves, barely able to stand, are pressed against the adults, their wide eyes reflecting the uncertainty of the moment. Suddenly the tension snaps. The front runners are forced forward, plunging into the swirling water, and the herd surges after them in a frenzied stampede. In the chaos, survival becomes a desperate scramble. Wildebeest, zebras, and gazelles thrash through the current, each animal fighting to keep its head above water, to reach the far bank before exhaustion or fate claims them. The Mara River itself is a living adversary. Its currents, swollen by seasonal rains, are swift and merciless, churning with hidden debris and sudden drop-offs. The youngest and weakest are swept away in seconds. A wildebeest calf, separated from its mother, is caught in a whirlpool, its tiny legs paddling furiously as it's carried downstream. Panic erupts as animals pile atop one another, hooves flailing, bodies colliding. Some are trampled beneath the weight of the herd, lost in the confusion. Yet the greatest peril is invisible, lurking just beneath the surface. Crocodile eyes break the waterline, their ancient gaze fixed on the chaos above. The Mara is home to Africa's largest Nile crocodiles, some over 5 meters long, weighing nearly a ton. These apex predators have waited months for this moment. Perfectly camouflaged, they remain motionless, conserving energy, their bodies adapted for ambush. Their patience is legendary. Some will wait hours for the perfect opportunity. Their jaws, lined with conical teeth, are engineered for gripping and crushing. A special valve in their throat allows them to seize prey underwater without drowning. Their physiology is a marvel of evolution. With a single breath, they can remain submerged for over an hour, their hearts redirecting oxygen to vital organs, enabling them to outlast even the most determined prey. As the herd surges overhead, the crocodiles launch upward with explosive force, jaws agape, targeting the most vulnerable, calves, the injured, or those separated from the group. The attack is swift and brutal. A crocodile clamps onto a wildebeest's leg, dragging it beneath the surface in a deadly spiral known as the death roll. With a bite force exceeding 3,000 pounds per square inch, bone shatters instantly. The struggle is over in moments. The river becomes a maelstrom of thrashing bodies, blood and foam. For every animal that falls, dozens more surge forward, driven by the primal urge to survive. In these moments, the Mara River is transformed into a battleground, where only the most resilient endure. For the crocodiles, this is a feast that sustains them for months. A single large meal can provide enough energy to last an entire year. For the survivors, every stroke is a gamble. A zebra, battered and bleeding, kicks free from a crocodile's grip, barely escaping with its life. The crossing is the most perilous chapter in the migration, a crucible where fate, strength, and adaptation are tested to their limits. Those who reach the far bank do so battered and exhausted. Mud clings to their flanks, and their legs tremble with fatigue. But the ordeal is not over. On the muddy banks, new threats await. Lions, leopards, and hyenas prowl the periphery, drawn by the scent of blood and the sight of weakened prey. Lions, masters of ambush, target the stragglers, those too weary to run, their bodies slowed by the surge of stress hormones. Recent research reveals that wildebeest cortisol levels spike tenfold during the crossing, impairing their reflexes and making them easy targets for predators. Some collapse from exhaustion, unable to rise as danger closes in. Others, dazed and disoriented, react too slowly to the predators that stalk the river's edge. The predators seize their chance, culling the weakest and ensuring that only the most resilient continue the journey. The Mara River crossing is nature's ultimate test, a relentless gauntlet that forges survivors from the crucible of chaos, ensuring that only the fittest and most adaptable complete the epic migration. In the far reaches of the northern hemisphere, where the land is sculpted by ice and wind, a remarkable odyssey unfolds each year across the Arctic tundra. Over 500,000 caribou, also known as reindeer, set out on a relentless migration, traversing more than 5,000 kilometers in a vast circuit that spans the boreal forests, windswept tundra, and coastal plains of the Arctic. This epic journey is among the longest terrestrial migrations on Earth, a feat of endurance and instinct that has shaped the caribou for millennia. The migration begins in the dense, snow-laden boreal forests where the herds have wintered, sheltered from the worst of the Arctic's fury. As spring approaches, they move northward, crossing frozen rivers and weaving through stands of black spruce, their path guided by ancient memory and the promise of renewal. Their destination, the calving grounds on the coastal plains, where the brief Arctic summer transforms the tundra into a carpet of green. Here the snow recedes, and a surge of life brings forth a bounty of sedges, lichens, and willows. Vital nourishment for the pregnant females. The timing is critical. The females must reach these fertile grounds to give birth, ensuring their calves are born into a world rich with food and long daylight hours, maximizing their chances of survival. Yet the route is fraught with peril. Blizzards can sweep across the open tundra without warning, reducing visibility to nothing and sapping the herd's strength. Temperatures can plummet well below freezing, even in late spring. The caribou must cross swollen rivers, their icy waters fed by melting snow, and ascend rugged mountain passes where footing is treacherous and avalanches are a constant threat. Deep snow drifts and hidden crevasses can claim the unwary. Gale-force winds whip across the tundra, driving snow and ice into the herd. Only the caribou's dense, hollow-fibered fur and thick undercoat shield them from the relentless cold. Every aspect of their anatomy is honed for survival. Their broad, concave hooves act as snowshoes, distributing their weight and preventing them from sinking into soft drifts. These hooves also provide traction on ice and are sharp enough to break through crusted snow or dig for lichen beneath the surface. When faced with wide, frigid rivers, the caribou plunge in, using their hooves as paddles and their buoyant bodies to float, sometimes swimming for hundreds of meters in water just above freezing. Their winter coats, made up of thousands of hollow hairs, trap air and insulate against the most severe cold, while also providing buoyancy in water. But the Arctic is not empty. The caribou's journey is shadowed by predators, each adapted to exploit the vulnerabilities of the migrating herd. Grey wolves, the caribou's most persistent adversaries, follow the migration, their keen senses attuned to the herd's every move. These apex predators are tireless, using teamwork and endurance to wear down their prey over vast distances. Wolf packs will single out the weak, the old, or the very young, launching relentless chases that can last for hours across the open tundra. River crossings are especially dangerous. The caribou, slowed by the current and unable to flee, become prime targets for wolves waiting on the banks. A single well-placed bite to the hamstring can cripple a caribou, bringing it down for the pack. The wolves' strategy is one of patience and precision, circling the herd, probing for weakness, and coordinating their attacks with remarkable intelligence. Through this crucible, only the strongest and most resilient caribou survive, ensuring the health and vitality of the herd for generations to come. The caribou must also contend with other formidable hunters. Grizzly bears, newly awakened from hibernation, emerge onto the tundra, their powerful forms scanning the horizon for opportunity. These bears, driven by hunger after months of fasting, will stalk the herds, targeting both calves and adults. A mother grizzly, accompanied by her cubs, may risk a direct confrontation with a full-grown caribou, which can weigh up to 180 kilograms, relying on her immense strength and razor-sharp claws. With claws reaching 10 centimeters in length and a bite force capable of crushing bone, the grizzly is a formidable adversary in this frozen realm. In recent years, a new threat has emerged. Polar bears, forced ashore by the early retreat of sea ice, have begun to hunt caribou on land, a dramatic shift in their traditional behavior. As the ice melts earlier each spring, these great predators must adapt, seeking out caribou and other terrestrial prey to survive the lean months. The caribou's journey is a living testament to the power of adaptation and the interconnectedness of Arctic life. But it is also a stark reminder of the fragility of these ancient migrations, as climate change reshapes the land and the delicate balance between predator and prey. The instinct to migrate is not limited to the land. In the boundless blue of the world's oceans, a saga unfolds that has played out for over 100 million years. Sea turtles, among the oldest living reptiles, are true navigators of the deep. From the moment they hatch, their lives are defined by epic journeys, crossing entire ocean basins with a precision that defies human understanding. There are 7 species of sea turtles, each with its own unique migration routes and life strategies, but all share a remarkable connection to the sea and the sand. As adults, these gentle giants traverse thousands of kilometers across open ocean, guided by the Earth's magnetic field, celestial cues, and chemical signatures in the water. Their destination, the very beaches where they themselves first emerged from the sand. When the time comes, a female turtle hauls her massive body onto the shore under the cover of darkness. She digs a deep nest with her hind flippers, carefully depositing dozens, sometimes over 100, leathery eggs into the warm sand. The eggs incubate for nearly 2 months, their fate determined by the temperature of the sand. Warmer sands produce females, cooler sands males. This delicate balance is crucial for the survival of future generations. After nesting, the mother returns to the sea, embarking on another long migration to distant feeding grounds. Some species, like the leatherback, may travel over 10,000 kilometers between nesting and foraging sites, crossing entire oceans in a single season. The journey is fraught with peril. Storms, strong currents, and lurking predators make every kilometer a test of endurance and instinct. In the open ocean, turtles are solitary travelers, dwarfed by the immensity of their watery world. Their streamlined shells and powerful flippers allow them to glide effortlessly for days on end, conserving energy as they navigate the currents. Yet danger is never far. Tiger sharks, formidable hunters of the sea, patrol the migratory corridors, ever watchful for the slow-moving silhouette of a turtle. These apex predators, with their keen senses and relentless drive, are among the few capable of breaching a turtle's armored defense. Their serrated teeth are perfectly adapted to slice through tough shells, making even the largest adult turtles vulnerable in the open sea. A single, well-timed bite can mean the end of a journey that began decades earlier, a stark reminder of the ocean's unforgiving nature. But sea turtles are not defenseless. Their agility, thick shells, and instinctive evasive maneuvers often allow them to escape even the most determined hunters. On land, the risks shift. The nesting female is exposed and vulnerable, her slow progress across the sand making her an easy target for opportunistic predators. In some regions, powerful predators like jaguars have learned to exploit this moment, using their immense strength and crushing jaws to breach even the toughest shells. These big cats, typically creatures of the dense jungle, have adapted to the rhythms of the coast, patrolling the beaches under the cover of night. With a bite force unmatched among big cats, a jaguar can pierce a turtle's skull with a single, devastating bite, ending a life that has survived countless oceanic trials. Yet the presence of such predators can have unexpected effects on the ecosystem, sometimes deterring smaller nest raiders and maintaining a delicate balance. By keeping populations of egg-eating animals in check, these apex predators inadvertently protect the next generation of turtles, allowing more hatchlings a chance at survival. When the time is right, the hatchlings break free from their eggs, instinctively digging upward through the sand. Their emergence is synchronized, a mass exodus that increases their odds against waiting predators. Under the cover of night, they scramble toward the surf, guided by the faint glow of the horizon. Every second counts as they race across the perilous beach. The sand is alive with danger. Crabs, birds, and other predators lie in wait, ready to seize the vulnerable young. Only a fraction will make it to the water's edge, and even then, the gauntlet is far from over. On the beach, crabs and seabirds are relentless, snatching up hatchlings before they can reach the safety of the waves. Overhead, frigate birds with massive wingspans swoop down, plucking the tiny turtles from the sand in mid-sprint. In the shallows, predatory fish await, turning the first swim into a desperate struggle for survival. The odds are staggering, nature's way of ensuring that only the strongest and luckiest survive to continue the ancient cycle. It is estimated that only 1 in 1,000 hatchlings will reach adulthood, braving years of solitude and danger in the open ocean. Those that survive mature slowly, spending decades at sea before returning, guided by ancient instincts, to the very beach where their journey began. The voyage of the sea turtle is a testament to endurance, adaptation, and the enduring mysteries of life in the ocean's vast expanse. Across the animal kingdom, the drive to migrate manifests in extraordinary and diverse ways, each journey shaped by unique evolutionary pressures and environmental demands. In the heart of Botswana, a remarkable migration has only recently come to light, revealing the tenacity and adaptability of the plains zebra. These animals, equipped with acute spatial memory and a finely tuned sense of timing, embark on a journey dictated by the rhythm of the seasons. For decades, their ancient migratory corridor was severed by man-made barriers, disrupting a natural cycle that had persisted for millennia. When these obstructions were finally removed, the zebras, guided by instinct and perhaps the faintest traces of ancestral memory, resumed their epic trek without hesitation. Today, they undertake Africa's longest overland migration, traversing 500 kilometers in a near straight line from the lush banks of the Chobe River to the arid salt pans of Nzaipan National Park. This journey, fraught with peril, demands endurance and cohesion as herds navigate predators, drought, and the relentless African sun. Their destination is dictated by the promise of mineral-rich grasses that erupt after the rains, nutrients essential for lactating females and growing foals, absent from their home ranges during the dry season. This Odyssey is a living testament to the power of instinct, memory, and the intricate relationship between animal movement and ecosystem health. As they graze, zebras stimulate new plant growth and disperse seeds, shaping the landscape for countless other species. Thousands of kilometers away, in the frigid rivers of Alaska and the Pacific Northwest, another migration unfolds, one that is as dramatic as it is vital to the ecosystem. The Great Salmon Run is a spectacle of endurance and transformation. After years spent maturing in the vastness of the Pacific Ocean, salmon are compelled by an unerring homing instinct to return to the very streams where they hatched. Navigating by the Earth's magnetic field and the unique chemical signature of their natal waters, they swim thousands of kilometers, braving open ocean predators and the hazards of river mouths. As they ascend turbulent rivers, they face powerful currents, leap towering waterfalls, and endure wounds from rocks and rapids. Their bodies undergo dramatic changes, color shifts, hooked jaws, and the cessation of feeding, as they channel every reserve into the final push upstream. Exhausted and battered, many show tattered fins and fading vitality, yet they persist, driven by the imperative to spawn. Upon reaching their birthplace, females excavate gravel nests, or redds, where they lay thousands of eggs. Males fiercely compete for the chance to fertilize them, ensuring the next generation's survival. After spawning, their life's purpose fulfilled, the salmon die. Their decaying bodies release a pulse of nutrients, feeding not only the river, but also the surrounding forest, nourishing plants, insects, and a web of wildlife. This seasonal bounty draws a congregation of predators. Grizzly bears, with their acute sense of smell, arrive in numbers, timing their presence to the peak of the run. At waterfalls and shallow rapids, bears demonstrate remarkable fishing skills, snatching leaping salmon with precision honed by generations of practice. To maximize energy intake, bears often consume only the richest parts, the skin, brain, and eggs, leaving the rest for scavengers and decomposers, further fueling the ecosystem. Overhead, bald eagles patrol the rivers, their extraordinary vision allowing them to spot the crimson bodies of salmon from high above. With powerful talons, they pluck fish from the water, their predation a vital link in the transfer of marine nutrients to terrestrial habitats. Even coastal grey wolves have adapted to this seasonal feast, wading into rivers to catch salmon, often selecting the most nutritious parts and leaving the rest for other creatures. In the southern hemisphere, off South Africa's wild coast, the ocean erupts with life during the annual sardine run, a migration unrivaled in scale and spectacle. Billions of sardines, responding to subtle shifts in water temperature and currents, form immense shoals stretching over 15 kilometers, their synchronized movement a defense against predation. This living river of fish becomes a magnet for marine predators. Dolphins, sharks, and seabirds converge in a feeding frenzy, each employing specialized tactics to exploit the abundance. Common dolphins, working in coordinated pods, use echolocation and teamwork to corral sardines into tight bait balls, making them easier to capture. Thresher sharks, with their elongated tails, deliver lightning-fast strikes, stunning dozens of sardines at once and capitalizing on the chaos. The climax arrives as bride's wails surge from the depths, engulfing tens of thousands of sardines in a single cavernous gulp, an awe-inspiring display of power and precision. These migrations, each shaped by unique challenges and ecological roles, are vital engines of life, sustaining entire ecosystems and demonstrating the profound interconnectedness of the natural world. Migration is not just a journey. It's a relentless test of endurance, ingenuity, and survival, played out both in the frigid skies and across the endless ice. In the heart of Antarctica, where temperatures can plummet below -60 degrees Celsius and the wind scours the land with icy ferocity, millions of penguins embark on one of nature's most grueling migrations. Adelie, Gentoo, and king penguins traverse vast, treacherous expanses of sea ice, their bodies streamlined for efficiency, their feet adapted to grip the slick, frozen surface. Each step is a calculated risk, as hidden crevasses and shifting ice threaten to swallow the unwary. The reward for this perilous trek is the safety of their ancestral breeding colonies, bustling, noisy sanctuaries where hundreds of thousands of penguins gather. Here, tightly packed nests offer some protection from the elements and predators, and the warmth of the colony helps shield fragile eggs and chicks from the bitter cold. Once the eggs are laid, the real challenge begins. Parents take turns braving the freezing Southern Ocean, diving to remarkable depths in search of fish and krill. Their waterproof feathers and thick layers of blubber insulate them against the icy water, while their keen eyesight allows them to hunt even in the dim Antarctic light. The journey between the ocean and the colony is relentless. Penguins must navigate blizzards, shifting ice and exhaustion, all while evading predators. Their remarkable stamina and social cohesion, huddling together for warmth and protection, are key to their survival in this unforgiving world. Yet, even in the heart of the colony, vigilance is essential. Shadows on the ice signal danger, and every penguin is alert to the ever-present threat of predation. Beneath the ice, leopard seals, sleek, muscular, and perfectly camouflaged, wait in silence. Their patience is legendary, and their ambushes swift and deadly. These apex predators, stretching up to 4 meters and weighing over 500 kilograms, are built for speed and power. Their jaws, lined with formidable teeth, can dispatch a penguin in seconds. Leopard seals are cunning hunters, memorizing the migratory routes and timing of the penguins. They position themselves with precision, ready to strike as the birds enter or leave the water. In deeper waters, orcas, killer whales, patrol the ice edge. These highly intelligent predators hunt in coordinated pods, communicating with clicks and whistles to outmaneuver their prey. Orcas employ a remarkable strategy known as wave washing. Working together, they generate powerful waves to dislodge penguins from the safety of ice flows, forcing them into the water where escape is nearly impossible. Above, the threat comes from the sky. Skuas, opportunistic and relentless, patrol the colonies, their sharp eyes scanning for any unguarded egg or vulnerable chick. Their raids are swift, and only the most vigilant parents can fend them off. Far from the ice, another migration unfolds, one of staggering scale and breathtaking spectacle. In the heart of Central Africa, the skies come alive with the movement of millions of fruit bats. Each year, in Zambia's Kasanka National Park, the world's densest mammal migration takes place. Over 10 million straw-colored fruit bats converge on a mere 10 square kilometers of forest, drawn by the promise of abundant food. The bats arrive in waves, blanketing the forest canopy. By day, they roost in the trees, their bodies packed tightly together for warmth and safety, forming a living tapestry that shimmers in the dappled sunlight. At dusk, the bats take to the sky in search of ripe musuku fruit. Their keen sense of smell and excellent night vision guide them through the darkness, allowing them to locate the sweetest, most nutritious bounty. For a few short weeks, the twilight sky is transformed into a living river of wings. The air vibrates with the sound of millions of bats, their synchronized flight a marvel of natural engineering. As the sun sets, the bats emerge in a swirling, chattering vortex, their numbers so great they blot out the fading light. This nightly exodus is both a feeding frenzy and a survival strategy. The sheer abundance of bats is a testament to the richness of the Kasanka ecosystem. Their migration is vital, dispersing seeds and pollinating countless plants, shaping the very fabric of the forest. But such concentration of life inevitably attracts predators. The sky becomes a vertical hunting ground, with raptors circling above, ready to strike. Martial eagles and African fish eagles, masters of the air, dive with astonishing speed and precision, plucking bats from the swarm in mid-flight. On the ground and in the trees, predators wait in ambush. Leopards, usually ground hunters, have adapted to this seasonal bounty by climbing high into the canopy, their balance and agility allowing them to snatch roosting bats from the branches. These big cats move with remarkable stealth, inching along the thinnest branches to reach their prey, demonstrating extraordinary adaptability in pursuit of a meal. Yet the bats' greatest defense is their overwhelming numbers. By emerging en masse, they reduce the odds of any single individual being caught, a survival strategy known as predator satiation. In this swirling multitude, the chance of any one bat falling victim is vanishingly small, just 1 in 10 million. Predators feast, but their impact is minimal. Less than 1% of the bats are taken, leaving the vast majority to continue their vital journey. An immense living river that sustains the forest and ensures the survival of the species for another year. For countless generations, the world's great migrations have unfolded across continents and oceans, epic journeys shaped by the timeless rhythms of the earth. Animals have always faced formidable natural challenges, predators lurking in the shadows, unpredictable weather, and the daunting obstacles of mountains, rivers, and deserts. But in the modern era, these ancient travelers confront a new and unprecedented gauntlet of threats, ones that are entirely the result of human progress. The most pervasive of these is habitat loss. As forests are cleared, grasslands ploughed, and wetlands drained, the corridors that once guided migrations are vanishing. Climate change compounds these losses. Rising global temperatures are melting glaciers and sea ice, transforming entire ecosystems. In the Arctic, animals like polar bears and reindeer find their traditional routes altered or erased as ice thins and snow cover becomes unreliable. The timing of the seasons is shifting. Plants may bloom weeks earlier than before, and insect hatches can be mistimed. Migratory birds, arriving on ancient schedules, may find that the food they depend on, berries, seeds, or insects, has already peaked and faded. For fish and amphibians, altered water temperatures and flow patterns can disrupt the emergence of prey, leaving young animals without the nourishment they need to survive. As a result, many migrants arrive at their destinations only to find barren landscapes, depleted of the resources that once sustained them. Rising sea levels are swallowing the low-lying beaches and sandbars that sea turtles and seabirds rely on for nesting. Each year, more of these critical sites are lost to the encroaching tides. With fewer safe places to lay their eggs, entire generations are at risk of being lost before they even begin. The physical world is becoming a maze of obstacles. Fences, roads, and railways slice through migration corridors, forcing animals to detour for miles or abandon their journeys altogether. Fragmentation of habitats isolates populations, making it harder for animals to find mates, access food, or escape harsh conditions. Some conservation efforts, like wildlife corridors and overpasses, offer hope, but the scale of the problem is immense. These barriers can be fatal, especially for young or inexperienced migrants who cannot find a way around. Cut off from vital feeding and breeding grounds, populations dwindle and genetic diversity declines. In the oceans, the threats are less visible but just as severe. Noise pollution from shipping, sonar, and industrial activity creates a constant din that confuses and stresses marine animals. Whales, dolphins, and other marine migrants rely on sound to communicate, navigate, and locate prey. When their calls are drowned out, they can become lost, separated from their pods, or unable to find food. The consequences can be fatal, especially for young animals learning the routes for the first time. Ocean noise pollution can lead to strandings, failed migrations, and population declines. Isolation and confusion are becoming the new normal for many marine migrants. Pollution is another grave and growing danger. Rivers and oceans are increasingly contaminated with chemicals, heavy metals, and plastic debris. Plastic waste is especially deadly. Sea turtles, seabirds, and marine mammals often mistake plastic for food, leading to internal injuries, blockages, and starvation. Even a single piece of plastic can be fatal, and the problem is growing with every tide. The toll on wildlife is staggering, with entire populations at risk from the cumulative effects of pollution. Chemical pollutants from agriculture and industry flow into rivers, lakes, and oceans, accumulating in the food chain and causing long-term harm to migratory species. These toxins can weaken immune systems, disrupt reproduction, and make animals more vulnerable to disease. Outbreaks of disease, often exacerbated by pollution and stress, can decimate entire populations in a single season. For migratory fish like salmon and sturgeon, dams and pollution create nearly insurmountable barriers, preventing them from reaching their spawning grounds. Many never complete their journey, and populations are declining as a result. These mounting pressures are pushing many migratory species to the brink of extinction. Conservationists are racing to study, track, and protect these animals before it's too late. The combination of threats, climate change, habitat loss, pollution, and barriers creates a perilous web that few species can escape without help. The ancient rhythms that once guided migrations are being thrown out of sync, with unpredictable and sometimes tragic results. Journeys that were once completed by instinct and tradition are now fraught with uncertainty and danger. The Saiga antelope of the Kazakh steppe, a survivor from the Ice Age, suffered a catastrophic die-off in 2015, linked to unusual weather and disease, an ominous sign of the new challenges facing migratory species. The once reliable sardine run has failed in recent years, likely due to shifting ocean temperatures and currents, leaving predators and scavengers without their annual feast. These are urgent warning signs. The world's great migrations, these awe-inspiring natural spectacles, are in jeopardy. Yet, with dedicated conservation efforts, protected corridors, and global cooperation, there is still hope that these ancient journeys can endure for generations to come. Despite the daunting obstacles that face the natural world, hope endures, rooted in the remarkable resilience of wildlife and the ingenuity of conservation science. Across continents, teams of experts are forging new paths in conservation, blending traditional ecological knowledge with cutting-edge research to safeguard the world's most ambitious migrations. One of the most transformative strategies is connectivity conservation, an approach that recognizes the intricate web of life and the necessity of unbroken pathways for migratory species. By restoring and protecting these vital corridors, conservationists are reweaving the fabric of fragmented habitats, allowing animals to traverse landscapes as they have for millennia. In Botswana, the removal of barriers has sparked a renaissance for ancient migrations, as zebra herds once again thunder across the open plains, reclaiming their ancestral roots. The simple act of dismantling fences has revived a natural spectacle, demonstrating that when given the chance, nature rebounds with astonishing vigor. Grasslands once scarred by division now flourish as wildlife returns to restored habitats, a testament to the healing power of ecological restoration. These efforts reveal a crucial lesson. Protecting the destination is not enough. The journey itself, the lifeline of migration, must be preserved. Scientific innovation is now at the heart of this mission. Advanced tracking technologies and real-time data collection are revolutionizing our understanding of animal movement. In 2026, satellite telemetry and artificial intelligence allow researchers to monitor migrations with unprecedented accuracy, revealing hidden patterns and critical stopover sites. These insights empower conservationists to identify and prioritize the most essential habitats, ensuring that migration corridors remain open and functional. Innovative solutions, such as wildlife overpasses and protected corridors, are being designed and implemented to guide animals safely across landscapes increasingly shaped by human activity. In the oceans, precise tracking of whale migrations has led to the rerouting of shipping lanes, dramatically reducing collisions and noise pollution, and offering marine giants a safer passage. Every new collar, every data point, is a step toward a future where technology serves as a guardian of the wild, not a threat. The results are tangible. Populations once in decline are now stabilizing, and in some cases thriving, thanks to targeted science-driven interventions. The Saiga antelope, once teetering on the brink, now races across the steppe in numbers not seen for decades, a living symbol of hope restored. Through relentless anti-poaching efforts and the deployment of thermal sensors, these resilient animals have been given a fighting chance, their population rebounding to over 1.3 million. On Christmas Island, the battle against invasive species is turning the tide for the iconic red crab migration, as targeted interventions restore balance to a fragile ecosystem. In Alaska, strengthened environmental protections are safeguarding the crystal-clear rivers that sustain salmon runs and the grizzly bears that depend on them, preserving a cycle as old as the land itself. Each restored migration route, each animal released, is a testament to what can be achieved when science, policy, and determination converge. The future of migration is not a distant dream. It is being shaped, moment by moment, by the choices we make and the knowledge we gain. These epic journeys, wildebeest surging across the savannah, birds painting the sky in swirling flocks, are more than natural wonders. They are the lifeblood of the planet's ecosystems. Migrations connect distant habitats, transport vital nutrients, and sustain the delicate equilibrium that supports all life. By ensuring their survival, we are investing in the health and resilience of the natural world, and ultimately our own future. The thunder of a million hooves, the fragile journey of a hatchling to the sea, these moments remind us of nature's enduring power and the responsibility we share to protect it. If we act with wisdom, innovation, and unwavering resolve, the world's great migrations will continue to inspire awe and sustain life for generations yet to come. Each year, a delicate yet extraordinary migration unfolds across North America, one that defies the limits of size and endurance. Monarch butterflies, weighing less than a paperclip, embark on a journey spanning thousands of miles, tracing invisible highways in the sky from Canada and the United States to the high-altitude forests of central Mexico. The story begins with a single, fragile egg laid on the underside of a milkweed leaf. In just a few days, a tiny caterpillar emerges and begins a voracious quest, devouring its host plant and absorbing toxins that will one day protect it from predators. After weeks of growth, the caterpillar transforms within a jade-green chrysalis, emerging as the iconic black and orange monarch butterfly. But it is the next act that sets monarchs apart: migration. Unlike most insects, monarchs cannot survive the freezing northern winters. As autumn approaches, a special generation, known as the supergeneration, emerges. These butterflies are built for endurance, living up to 8 months, far longer than their summer ancestors. Guided by a mysterious internal compass, they soar southward, navigating by the angle of the sun and the Earth's magnetic field. Their wings catch thermal currents, allowing them to glide for hours, conserving precious energy as they cross sprawling fields, bustling cities, and mountain ranges. For many, the journey will span up to 3,000 miles. Along the way, monarchs face daunting challenges: unpredictable weather, dwindling nectar sources, and the ever-present threat of predators. Yet they persevere, driven by instincts etched over millennia. When they finally reach the fir-clad mountains of Michoacán, millions cluster together on the branches, forming living tapestries that blanket the forest in vibrant color. Here they rest and wait for spring. As temperatures rise, the monarchs awaken and begin their journey northward. Along the way, they lay eggs for the next generation, tiny seeds of hope that will continue the cycle, each new butterfly flying a leg of the relay race that spans a continent. No single monarch completes the round trip. Instead, it is a shared Odyssey, a living chain that links generations and landscapes. Yet the monarch's migration hangs in the balance. Habitat loss, pesticide use, and climate change threaten the milkweed plants they depend on and disrupt the delicate cues that guide their flight. Despite these perils, the monarch's resilience endures, a symbol of nature's tenacity and the intricate web of life that connects us all. The monarch migration is a masterpiece of endurance and navigation, a testament to the wonders that unfold when even the smallest creatures follow the call of instinct. Their journey is a reminder. Every flight, every transformation is a triumph against the odds, and a call to protect the fragile threads that bind our world together. Across the vast savannas of East Africa, one of the planet's most awe-inspiring spectacles unfolds each year, the Great Wildebeest Migration. Nearly 2 million wildebeest, joined by hundreds of thousands of zebras and gazelles, embark on a relentless circuit between Tanzania's Serengeti and Kenya's Masai Mara. This is not a journey of choice, but of survival, dictated by the ancient rhythm of rain and grass. The Odyssey begins with the onset of the dry season, as the plains turn brittle and waterholes vanish beneath the relentless sun. Urged by the promise of fresh grazing, wildebeest gather in immense undulating herds that stretch to the horizon, a living river on the move. Their destination is the lush green pastures to the north, nourished by recent rains, but the migration is a gauntlet lined with peril. As the herds thunder across the open plains, predators lurk in the shadows. Lions prowl the tall grasses, their golden eyes fixed on the weakest members. Cheetahs exploit moments of chaos, singling out calves with astonishing speed. At night, stealthy hyenas and leopards pick off stragglers. For the wildebeest, vigilance is constant, the margin between life and death razor-thin. Yet it is the rivers that pose the greatest test. When the herds reach the swollen banks of the Mara and Grumeti, a scene of raw drama unfolds. Wildebeest gather in tense anticipation, sensing both the urgency of hunger and the mortal threat awaiting below. With a surge, the first animals plunge into the muddy currents, triggering a stampede as thousands follow. The crossing is chaos. Powerful currents sweep away the weary, while massive Nile crocodiles lie in wait, jaws agape for an opportunistic meal. The air fills with splashing hooves, desperate bellows, and the silent menace of predators beneath the surface. Not all will make it. Many fall to exhaustion, injury, or the jaws of crocodiles. Yet for those who survive, the reward is great: verdant grasslands and the promise of renewal. Here, the herds graze, calves are born, and the cycle begins anew with the shifting of the seasons. Through drought and deluge, over parched earth and perilous rivers, the wildebeest migration endures, a testament to the power of instinct and the delicate balance of life on the African plains. It is nature's grandest procession, a moving tapestry of survival, resilience, and the unbreakable link between animal and environment. High above the world's oceans, a feathered voyager embarks on the longest migration in the animal kingdom, the Arctic tern. Weighing little more than a bar of soap, this small seabird charts a path that encircles the globe, chasing an endless summer from pole to pole. Each year, Arctic terns travel an astonishing 25,000 miles, journeying from their breeding grounds in the far north to the frozen coastlines of Antarctica and back again. Their voyage begins in the Arctic spring, where terns nest on remote tundra and rocky shores. As the brief polar summer wanes, instinct draws them southward. Launching into the sky, terns ride prevailing winds and invisible currents, navigating vast expanses of open water with unerring precision. Their navigation is a marvel of adaptation. Arctic terns possess an internal compass sensitive to Earth's magnetic field. They read the sun's position and the patterns of polarized light, even on overcast days. This sophisticated toolkit allows them to chart a path across hemispheres, through storms and shifting seasons, with pinpoint accuracy. Some terns travel a looping route, skirting the coastlines of Europe and Africa, then gliding along the southern oceans, where food is plentiful and daylight nearly unbroken. On the wing, the terns are masters of efficiency. Their slender wings and forked tails slice through wind and spray. They rest and feed at sea, deftly plucking small fish and crustaceans from the surface. Even during storms, they harness the power of the wind, soaring for days without landfall. Upon reaching the Antarctic, the terns find a world transformed by light. Here, summer reigns once more, and the sun barely sets. For a few precious weeks they feast and recover before the long journey north begins anew. Across a lifetime, a single Arctic tern may travel the equivalent of 3 trips to the moon and back, a testament to endurance, adaptation, and the ceaseless rhythm of migration. Their journey is a living thread, stitching together the polar extremes and reminding us of the interconnectedness of life on Earth. Across the sun-drenched savannas and ancient forests of Africa and Asia, a procession of giants moves with quiet determination, the elephants. Their migrations are a spectacle of strength, memory, and unbreakable family bonds. Each year, herds of African and Asian elephants embark on journeys that can span hundreds of miles, searching for water, food, and safe havens as the seasons shift. At the heart of every herd is the matriarch, a wise, experienced female whose memory guides her family across the ever-changing landscape. With decades of experience, she recalls hidden waterholes, ancient trails, and the safest paths through territory marked by drought and danger. The matriarch's knowledge, passed down through generations, is the herd's lifeline in a world where resources can vanish overnight. Elephants travel in tightly knit family groups, led by the matriarch and composed of mothers, daughters, aunts, and calves. Their social structure is a web of deep connections. Individuals communicate with low rumbles that travel for miles, comforting the young and coordinating movement. Older bulls, once part of family herds, may travel alone or in loose bachelor groups, occasionally rejoining for the great migrations when water grows scarce. As the dry season tightens its grip, herds traverse parched riverbeds and dusty plains, following invisible highways etched into the earth by generations past. Their massive feet leave prints in the soil, and their trunks test the breeze for the scent of distant rain. Along the way, they pause to rest in the shade, to greet relatives and to mourn lost companions, a reminder of the emotional depth within these gentle giants. But the path is fraught with challenges. Expanding farmland and fences fragment ancient corridors, forcing elephants into perilous encounters with people. Droughts grow longer, waterholes dry up, and once reliable routes become traps. Yet the elephants adapt, altering their schedules, learning new routes, and teaching their young to navigate a changing world. Despite the hardships, the migration endures, a living testament to resilience and the power of memory. As dusk falls, the silhouettes of elephants stretch across the horizon, moving as one toward the promise of water and new life. Their journey is a story written on the land itself, a reminder that the fate of these giants is entwined with the health of the wild places they call home. Beneath the vast blue expanse of the world's oceans, silent leviathans embark on one of nature's most extraordinary journeys, the migration of whales. Each year, these marine giants traverse thousands of miles, guided by ancient instincts and the subtle cues of their underwater world. From the icy feeding grounds of the polar seas to the balmy nurseries of the tropics, whales follow time-honored routes, etched not on land, but in the ever-shifting currents of the sea. Humpback whales, for example, leave the rich waters of Antarctica, traveling up to 5,000 miles to the warm, shallow bays where new life begins. Grey whales undertake an even longer odyssey, hugging coastlines from the Arctic to the lagoons of Mexico, a round trip that can exceed 10,000 miles, making it one of the longest migrations of any mammal on Earth. Navigation in the open ocean is a feat of remarkable precision. Whales rely on an internal compass, attuned to the planet's magnetic field and perhaps even the position of the sun and stars. Along their route, they dive beneath Arctic ice or glide through equatorial currents, their bodies perfectly adapted to conserve energy over vast distances. Communication is the lifeline of every journey. Whales sing haunting, far-reaching songs, complex patterns of clicks, moans, and pulses that travel for hundreds of miles through water. These vocalizations help individuals stay connected across the vastness, coordinate movements, and even attract mates. Blue whales, the largest creatures ever to exist, send infrasonic calls that can cross entire ocean basins, weaving a tapestry of sound in the deep. Survival on the move demands constant vigilance and adaptation. Whales must navigate shifting prey, evade natural predators like orcas, and conserve precious energy reserves. Mothers travel with newborn calves, sheltering them from danger and teaching them the migratory paths that have sustained their kind for millennia. Along the way, whales must also contend with new threats: ship traffic, entangling fishing gear, and the cacophony of human noise that can drown out their ancient songs. Yet against these odds, the migration continues, a testament to the resilience and intelligence of these ocean voyagers. As a pod rises together through the shimmering blue, their flukes break the surface in silent unity, tracing invisible highways through the sea. The migration of whales is a living link between distant continents and ancient oceans, a reminder that, even in the planet's wildest places, the journey never ends. High above wetlands and rivers, a delicate yet powerful traveller takes to the wind, the dragonfly. Though small and fragile in appearance, dragonflies are among the most remarkable migrators in the animal kingdom, embarking on journeys that span continents and even cross oceans. Each year, millions of globe-skimmer dragonflies, Pantala flavescens, set out on a migration that defies their size. Their voyage begins in India, where the monsoon rains fill freshwater pools, creating the perfect nursery for their aquatic young. As the seasons shift, these dragonflies launch skyward, riding the prevailing winds across the Indian Ocean, a journey of nearly 4,400 miles that leads them to East Africa. No other insect is known to complete a transoceanic migration of such scale. To survive this marathon, dragonflies possess a suite of extraordinary adaptations. Their wings are engineered for both speed and endurance, allowing them to glide for hours with minimal energy. They time their flights with seasonal wind patterns, harnessing the monsoon breezes as invisible highways in the sky. Remarkably, their bodies can store enough fat reserves to fuel the journey, and they are able to pause and refuel at islands or ships encountered along the way. Navigation is an intricate dance with the elements. Dragonflies are guided by polarized sunlight and possess acute vision, detecting shifts in light and landscape that signal when to change course. Their compound eyes, each with thousands of facets, provide a panoramic view of the world, helping them dodge predators and locate temporary resting spots far from land. Throughout their migration, dragonflies serve as living threads that link distant ecosystems. They are both predator and prey, shaping insect populations and feeding countless birds and fish along their route. As they reach new shores, they lay eggs in fresh water, beginning the next generation's journey before returning with the changing winds. The migration of dragonflies remains one of nature's most enigmatic phenomena, a delicate ballet of instinct, adaptation, and endurance played out above the world's oceans. In their shimmering flight, dragonflies remind us that even the smallest travelers can undertake the grandest adventures, connecting continents with the beat of their fragile wings. Across the vast, wind-swept expanses of the Arctic tundra, A timeless procession unfolds every year, a living river of hooves and antlers flowing across the snow-blanketed landscape. These are the reindeer, also known as caribou in North America, and their epic migration is one of the natural world's most awe-inspiring spectacles. Driven by the relentless pulse of the polar seasons, reindeer herds, sometimes numbering in the hundreds of thousands, embark on a journey that covers up to 3,000 miles annually. Their migration is a race against time and the changing Arctic elements, as they traverse ancient routes that have been etched into the memory of the herd for generations. The journey begins in early spring, as the harsh grip of winter loosens and daylight returns to the high latitudes. Pregnant females lead the way, instinctively seeking the nutrient-rich grasses and sedges of the calving grounds. These remote areas, often perched on windswept hills or sheltered river valleys, offer safety from predators and an abundance of food for the newborn calves. Within days of birth, the calves are on their feet and moving with the herd, their survival dependent on the unity and vigilance of the group. Herd dynamics are a delicate choreography. Reindeer communicate through a symphony of grunts, snorts, and subtle body language, coordinating their movements and alerting one another to danger. Older, experienced animals often guide the herd, their memories of migration routes and feeding grounds vital for navigating the shifting Arctic terrain. When rivers swell with meltwater or snowdrifts block the path, the herd adapts, crossing icy currents or detouring through forests in search of lichen, their winter sustenance. Predators shadow the migration. Wolves, golden eagles, and even Arctic foxes test the herd's defenses, singling out the weak or the young. Yet safety lies in numbers, and the synchronized movement of thousands of reindeer can confuse and overwhelm would-be hunters. The herd's tightly knit structure and constant vigilance are their greatest shields against the dangers of the tundra. As the short Arctic summer wanes, the reindeer turn southward, retracing their steps through landscapes now tinged with autumn gold. The cycle of migration is a test of endurance, memory, and cooperation, each step echoing the survival strategies that have sustained reindeer for millennia. In the silence of the polar wilderness, the thunder of hooves and the shimmer of antlers against the northern sky are a testament to nature's resilience and the enduring spirit of the Arctic nomads. Across the world's arid plains and grasslands, a different kind of migration unfolds, one not of hooves or wings alone, but of billions moving as a single living force. This is the migration of locusts, a phenomenon that transforms solitary insects into the architects of some of nature's most dramatic spectacles. Locusts are grasshoppers with a difference. Under certain conditions, when rainfall follows a drought and vegetation flourishes, they undergo a remarkable transformation. Their bodies change color, their brains rewire, and their instincts shift from solitary to social. Drawn together by chemical signals and crowding, they gather in dense bands which soon take flight as vast coordinated swarms. A locust swarm is a marvel of collective behavior. Billions of insects move in synchrony, directed by subtle shifts in wind, temperature, and the scent of green vegetation. Each locust responds to its neighbors, adjusting its speed and direction to maintain cohesion. The swarm can stretch for miles, a living cloud that darkens the sky and hums with the beating of countless wings. The environmental impact is profound. As the swarm descends, it devours every green blade in its path, fields, forests, and grasslands alike. In a single day, a large swarm can consume as much food as tens of thousands of people. Crops vanish, pastures are stripped bare, and the landscape is left scarred by the swarm's passage. Yet for the locusts, this migration is a matter of survival. The journey is driven by hunger and the relentless search for food. Swarms travel hundreds, sometimes thousands, of miles, guided by shifting winds and the promise of fresh vegetation. Along the way, the insects must navigate harsh environments, blistering heat, sudden storms, and the ever-present threat of predators such as birds and reptiles. Within the swarm, survival depends on unity. The mass movement confuses predators and ensures that, even if many fall, enough will survive to reach the next feeding ground. At night the swarm settles, blanketing trees and shrubs, only to rise again with the dawn, driven ever onward by the need to feed. As the seasons change and food becomes scarce, the swarms disperse. Locusts return to their solitary forms, and the cycle of transformation resets, waiting for the next convergence of rain, growth and crowding that will awaken the ancient instinct to swarm. The migration of locusts is a testament to the power of collective behavior and adaptation. It shapes landscapes, challenges ecosystems, and reminds us of the delicate balance between survival and destruction in the natural world. Beneath the rolling waves, far from the reach of sunlight, another great migration unfolds, one cloaked in mystery and guided by senses beyond our comprehension. This is the journey of sharks, silent hunters, whose annual migrations trace invisible highways through the world's oceans. For many shark species, migration is a vital ritual, driven by the changing seasons, the pursuit of prey, and the need to reproduce. From the mighty great white to the gentle whale shark, these apex predators embark on epic voyages that span thousands of miles, crossing entire ocean basins in search of feeding grounds and mating sites. The secret to their navigation lies in a remarkable suite of adaptations. Sharks possess an acute sense of smell, able to detect a single drop of blood in millions of gallons of water. But their guidance systems go far beyond scent. Embedded within their bodies are specialized cells, sensitive to Earth's magnetic field, allowing them to orient themselves with astonishing precision, like living compasses in the deep. As they travel, sharks follow ancient migratory routes shaped by generations of instinct and experience. Some, like the hammerhead, form vast schools that pulse across the open sea, while others, such as the tiger shark, journey alone through shifting currents and thermal gradients. Along the way, they exploit changing ocean conditions, riding warm eddies, tracking the movements of prey fish, and pausing at underwater seamounts that serve as waypoints and feeding stations. Feeding is both opportunity and challenge. Migrating sharks must adapt to the ever-changing availability of food. Some switch from hunting fast-moving fish to scavenging on whale carcasses or feasting on seasonal blooms of squid. Their keen electroreceptors detect the faint electrical signals of hidden prey, turning the dark ocean into a living map of possibility. Yet migration is not without peril. Young sharks must evade larger predators and navigate vast stretches of open water. Shifting ocean currents, storms, and changes in water temperature test their endurance at every turn. Still, each year they return, guided by memory, magnetism, and the relentless drive to survive. The migration of sharks is a story written in salt and current, a testament to adaptation and resilience. As they carve invisible paths across the blue expanse, these enigmatic travelers remind us that the ocean's greatest mysteries still swim just beneath the surface, forever on the move. Across the vast wind-swept plains of North America, one of the continent's most extraordinary migrations takes place. Swift, silent, and seldom seen. This is the journey of the pronghorn, the fastest land animal in the Western Hemisphere, and an icon of open country endurance. Each spring and autumn, tens of thousands of pronghorns set out on a journey that has persisted for millennia. Their migration routes stretch for hundreds of miles, weaving through sagebrush steppe, grasslands, and foothills across Wyoming, Montana, and into Canada. These routes, some among the longest of any land mammal in the Americas, are ancient corridors carved into instinct and landscape alike. What sets the pronghorn apart is its remarkable speed and stamina. Capable of reaching up to 55 miles per hour, pronghorns are built for flight across open spaces. Their long, slender legs and oversized windpipes allow for rapid bursts and sustained running, a legacy of evolution in a land once roamed by now extinct predators. Unlike sprinters such as the cheetah, pronghorns are endurance athletes, able to maintain high speeds for miles on end as they traverse open terrain and evade danger. The pronghorn migration is a finely tuned response to the changing seasons and the shifting availability of food. In spring, herds move northward and upward, following the green wave of new growth as snow recedes and fresh forage emerges. In autumn, as the chill returns, they retrace their steps, seeking lower elevations and milder climates to survive the winter. Their journey is not only a marvel of athleticism, but also a linchpin of prairie ecology. As pronghorns travel, they disperse seeds, trim grasses, and maintain the delicate balance of the ecosystem. Their presence supports a web of life that stretches from coyotes and golden eagles to the rare sage grouse and countless pollinators. Yet the path of the pronghorn is not without obstacles. Fences, highways, and expanding development fragment their historic corridors, forcing these swift migrants to navigate a maze of modern barriers. Still, where the land remains open, pronghorns continue their ancient race, swift shadows on the prairie, forever in motion, embodying the wild spirit of North America's grasslands.